Hello, everybody. Welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike Allen. As always, I'm joined by
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right. And this week we are going to review a comic book by Larry Hama. And because we're reviewing a comic book by Larry Hama, we knew who we had to call to be our guest, and that's Kevin Jank.
I love him so much I call him Larry Hama.
Yeah, Jank, I'm not familiar with your, of course, Kevin Jank, co-host of the LCS Hockey Radio Show. He's been on this podcast how many times, Jank? 16? Something like that?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I think, let me check our database here. Wait, is it 16? Hold on, it's loading. It's 16. Yes, it is.
Yeah, how about that? 16 times.
Woo.
And of those 16 times, I think Mike L's never let you pick a book.
That's a lie. You picked last time, didn't you, Kevin Jank?
Arrow book. I'm so thrilled about.
Yeah, Green Arrow. You made him do Green Arrow last time.
That was his pick.
Oh, that was your pick?
Yep.
Yeah, that was all.
Absolutely.
I'll take the credit for playing.
Well, then I'm glad that he took away that power from you. That now Mike is forcing you to read Nth Man by Larry Hama. And we're doing issue 3 of Nth Man. Jank, had you ever heard of Nth Man?
Nope, can't say that I did. I mean, even like Dakota North, I've seen like the advertisement in like comics before, but this one, not a clue.
Wow, I'm surprised you didn't see the ad, because I remember seeing these everywhere.
Yeah, like I didn't remember really when you said it, Michael, but then when I looked at the guy, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this guy. He's like a shirtless, tall, thin, white dude with long white hair pulled back.
Right.
And like a ponytail, right? And,
Yes.
He has green pants, black boots, and he's a ninja. He's the ultimate ninja.
He's the ultimate ninja, and his hair, it's kind of a mullet. I'm not sure if that's a mullet or if it's just combed back.
Yeah, that's a good question. I couldn't remember. I was assuming ponytail, but yeah. I think it's just long in the back.
Okay, so a mullet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but Jank, you are familiar with Larry Hama?
Sure. He did a long run on Wolverine, the ongoing series.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
And G.I.JOE.
Yeah, I was going to say Mike L knows him from G.I.JOE. That's where he loves him. Yeah. And we have also discussed Larry Hama on this podcast many times. Go back, listen to our G.I.JOE episode.
That's right.
All the background on Larry Hama.
And don't forget about Wolfpack. Come on.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, Jank was here for Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Larry Hama is the guy that brought us Wheels.
Yes, that's right.
His ingenious move of just pretending to be asleep.
That's right.
He was Wheels. So, all right, Michael, why did you pick Nth Man, the Ultimate Ninja?
Well, because like many, 80s comics, it's one of those ones where I spent a long time trying to accumulate all the issues, and I'd never read any of them. So I figured, hey, I've got a perfect opportunity. Now I do a podcast about Bronze Age comics, so let's read these suckers, right?
I suppose. This is from 1989. The artist here is a fellow named Ron Wagner, who I'd never really heard of. Michael, did you ever hear of Ron Wagner?
But of course, because he drew G.I.JOE.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I do have that written down here. Yeah. Ron Wagner, he drew 15 of the 16 issues. Dale Keown drew issue 8, Keown.
Nice. Whom we know from the Hulk, right?
Yeah, he was great.
And what was the one he did for Image?
Pitt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pitt.
Well, wasn't that what was the one that Keith fella did?
Sam Keith. He did the
Max. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, so
great.
that's Ron Wagner was born in Iowa in 1961. He attended the Joe Kubert School of Cartoon and Graphic Art. 2 of his classmates were Adam and Andy Kubert.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Wonder how they got.
What was that? What's that, Jank?
Wonder how they got into that school.
Yeah, pulled some strings. His first real work that I could see in comics was 1985 at DC New Talent Showcase issue 15. I'm not familiar with that comic, Michael, but I'm guessing they showcased new talents.
I think New Talent Showcase was an insert, from what I remember, like a 16-page insert where they would have like young up-and-coming writers and artists do stuff.
He had 76 penciling credits on Marvel, including 14 issues of G.I. Joe, between 87 and 89. Excalibur's issues 32 to 34 in 1991. He did Morbus the Living Vampire issues 1 through 3 and 5 through 14 in 1992 and 93. And the interesting thing about that is the whole time he's doing Morbius, apparently he kept getting into trouble with the Comics Code Authority for putting sexually explicit imagery in his backgrounds.
Wow. That's shocking.
That's just, I couldn't find any more info about that. Just a line on Wikipedia. But I don't know, so I guess it's true.
Morbius.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess Morbius was pretty sexy back in those early 90s. So that's Ron Wagner. Larry Hama, he wrote all 16 issues of this series. That's right. Nth Man lasted 16 issues. And the character is also called John Doe. He first appeared in Marvel Comics Presents, issue 25, 1989.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and then his regular series started after that. Because Marvel Comics Presents, it was kind of like an anthology kind of a situation, right? They would pack in a couple of different stories. It started out with Wolverine was the lead story, and then there'd be one or two other ones in there.
Right.
And then the Colossus had a run, and I think Cyclops, Havoc.
Right.
So I'm guessing Nth Man was in the backstory there on one of them. But so his regular series started out that year then in 89. And it was planned to run for 24 issues, but it got canceled after 16. But Hama was able to finish the story. He he knew the end was near, so he jumped ahead in time.
Oh, really?
A little time jump, like a year or so, and then he just finished off what he had planned.
Oh, interesting.
We can talk about how it ended maybe after we get through this first book, because it will make more sense. Now, Jank, right before we started this call, you said you enjoyed reading this book, that you almost understood what was happening in it. And I think part of the reason why we're joining here midstream, but there's another prominent character in here called Alfie O'Megan.
Mm-hmm.
And we should say the story is set outside the Marvel Universe.
Definitely.
Yeah. And this Alfie O'Megan guy, he's a powerful psychic and all kind of mental powers and whatnot. And he causes World War III to occur because he uses his powers to neutralize all nuclear weapons. And that seems like that would be a good thing, but it actually disrupts the balance of power. So then Russia and the U.S. start fighting a war, and China joins on the side of the Americans, and there's all kind of stuff. And Alfie grew up in the same orphanage as John Doe, the Nth Man. They were kids together in the same orphanage. But John Doe was adopted by an elderly Japanese man who worked for the CIA Black Ops Division and who taught him the ways of the ninja. Yeah, same thing happened to you, Jack, right? Yeah. So this Alfie, though, he, I guess they were both dropped off at the orphanage by a lady who was on fire, apparently. She was like on fire. She dropped him off at the orphanage and said, one of these kids is going to be really good, one of them is going to be really bad, but she couldn't tell which one was which. You know, she didn't know.
She was on,
Wait, what was that, Jay?
you had time to tell them all that while she was on fire?
I think so. And then immediately after, she did the whole stop, drop, and roll thing, but it was too late. But she says one's going to be good, one's going to be bad. So when Alfie, when he grew up, and he looked like he was going to be the bad seed there, you know. But then when he grew up and dismantled all the nuclear weapons, like, oh, he's the good guy. He's the good guy. But actually, it had some consequences and started World War III and all this other stuff. So the whole series is Nth Man, John Doe, trying to track down, to prevent World War III, and also to track down his old buddy Alfie and set the world straight, I guess. Yeah, so you're saying in issue 1, Michael, they don't even explain all this Alfie stuff?
They kind of do it in a way where you they kind of assume you've read like the backstory, but you haven't. So I'm just like trying to figure it out as I go along, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll just figure it out as I go along. I didn't realize there was a story before this.
Yeah, this Alfie character, he also shows up in Excalibur issue 26, when the old Excalibur team, they venture into his reality.
Really?
And I guess he dresses up like Galactus. Because in this reality we're in here with Nth Man, there are no Marvel superheroes in reality, but the comic books do exist. So Alfie grew up on comic books, worshiping Marvel Comics. So oftentimes he'll make references to, I guess, superheroes. So he dresses up like a Galactus, and he turns a lady into like a Silver Surfer kind of person. Yeah. But that's what we're doing. This is a very odd idea for a series.
Right.
Yes. I did read a little bit about what it was about, and yeah, I was like, wow, these ideas do not go together.
Yeah, they're trying to cram two things together that really, it's like, well, hey, the X-Men are really popular, but Larry Hama, he likes writing army stuff. What should we do? Hey, let's say there's a psychic who there's an army and a war. Let's do that. No, that doesn't work. It's not working here.
Yeah. Especially, it seems like he's more than just psychic. Like, he can alter reality. Like, he's pretty much omnipotent.
Yeah, he develops the powers to like alter reality and just create things out of his mind. He's basically like maybe Jasper's warp from Excalibur reference there, or Captain Britain reference, or who was that guy Proteus from Marvel?
Yeah,
or Proteus. Yeah. X-Men. Yeah, Marvel, whatever.
All
right, so
really are never that interesting because they're just like you can do anything.
Powerful.
It's like yeah, weird. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Let's make for good storytelling.
Nope. So that's what we're dealing with here with Nth Man. And Mike, would you like to explain the name Nth Man?
How would I know?
I
have no clue. Do they explain it?
No, but just the term Nth means like the latest in a long line of things. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he's like the next step in humans. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, in fact, here's the dictionary definition. Denoting an unspecified member of a series of numbers or enumerated items. Should I also point out that Hawkman from DC, the Silver Age Hawkman, used nth metal to...
oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how they flew, the nth metal. Yeah.
Nth metal. And then back in the 40s, it was just called the ninth metal. Not quite as cool.
So, there is. All right, I think that's all I have to say about Nth Man. Anything you'd like to add before we look at this, Michael?
Not really. Only that it kind of combines Larry Hama's, his forte is military and ninjas. So, I mean, this is the perfect book for him, right?
Yeah, because at the same, like we mentioned, Ron Wagner worked with him on G.I. Joe, and of course, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow were there. So yeah, they were really going at it with the ninjas back then. So yeah, let's do it.
Not a lot of ninja in this issue, I gotta say. A lot of guns. Not a lot of ninja.
Yeah, that's true.
Guns,
That's true.
A lot of guns. So, all right, let's look at this cover, Michael.
So we got the logo here, Nth Man, the Ultimate Ninja. Not a great logo. It's just kind of average. Then we got the corner box here with John Doe with his mullet, holding the sword kind of over his face, and it's casting a shadow on his face. It's okay. And then we got this cover here. It's John Doe standing with the sword and an AK-47. And like you pointed out earlier, he is shirtless, but he has green like military pants and like leather boots. And then he has another, the holster for his sword is like draped around, or whatever it's called, wrapped around his like chest. And then there's the hammer and sickle of the Soviet flag behind him. And that's it. And it's not a great cover. It's okay. It's not great.
There's like also a white
thigh. I don't know what's going on there.
On his thigh, Jack, is that what you said?
Yeah. It's got some kind of radioactive glowing section.
Yeah, it looks like someone spray painted a zero on his, like used a stencil to spray paint a zero or something.
Maybe.
On his thighs. I didn't notice that in the book at all. You know?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a little weird. There's also like a white tear down the center of the Russian flag there, because Russians are the enemy in this book.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if if it's supposed to be a tear, it's not very well, drawn. It's just like a white, negative space.
Yeah. It's not a great cover. This is Ron Wagner doing the art here.
Right. Yeah, like the first two covers are better. They're kind of like Mike Zeck-esque. The first one, number one's really action-packed. I like it. Number two, it's like, hold on a sec here. Number two is him posing with his two buddies. It's better. But yeah, this number three cover is not great.
Yeah, he just
You were
just looks.
What we should do.
Yeah, he just looks like too small and insignificant on this cover. He
Right.
make him bigger and more dynamic. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of empty space around him. So, all right. Then we open it up. Retaliation is the title of the book.
Yep.
Retaliation.
So basically, here's the thing. I love Larry Hama, but this is a lot to digest.
Yes.
So basically, boy. So they're kind of in the middle of not a battle, but they're going after the Nth Man. And this is the Russians?
There's a Russian helicopter up in the sky with a very foxy Russian lady
Yes.
who's like some I forget her rank.
Yeah.
But she's basically like their Black Widow, I guess, or something.
Yeah, like in the first issue, she was kind of like leading a mission against them, and then Nth Man used her as bait to escape, and then he threw her out of like a running car. But before he threw her out, he kissed her. So I think there's a little bit of sexual tension between them, you know. And then in the last issue, a Soviet like general ordered her to be killed, but the guy who was supposed to kill her didn't actually kill her. He just pretended to and like grazed her head with a bullet. So now she's free and she's going after Nth Man. So that's what's happening here.
Oh, that will explain the little bandage thing around her head. I thought that was just for style.
Nope.
Like a headband. Yeah.
Yeah. She's into aerobics.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can tell she's a high-ranking, like a Russian assassin or whatever, because she wears a black evening dress that is slit up the side.
Yes.
And exposes everything.
Yeah.
So that's how you know she's serious. But yeah, she's up in the helicopter, and they're trying to find where the Nth Man went. And Nth Man and his two pals, one is like an elderly fella.
Yes.
Who's like a dentist, I think they said.
Yeah, they sit somewhere. Yep.
And then the other one is a younger, like a teenage girl, maybe?
Yeah, younger girl. Yep.
Yeah.
A spunky
Like a Girl Scout or something.
sidekick. Yeah.
And they're hiding in a tank that is this a China, like they're hiding in a tank in the middle of a convoy that is in the middle of a Russian convoy, right?
Yeah, this is what's confusing. Again, we should point out this is in the future. And so allegiances are different, I think. But yeah, I think they're in a... No, isn't it a Russian tank? I don't know.
Yeah, they're hiding in a Russian tank in a Russian convoy. But the Russians don't know that's the Nth Man in there, you know?
Right.
Which was all very confusing because from the get-go, I was like, wait, where? Whose side are the Chinese on? And
Right.
whose side is the man on? Because he's in like a Russian tank, but apparently he's undercover or whatever. He's just pretending to be Russian.
Right.
But you could have set that up. All you had to do was like have a little bit of narration at the beginning to tell people where you left off.
Yeah, China is on the side of the United States, I guess.
Yeah,
apparently.
That was weird. Didn't expect that.
Yeah. And then, they're hiding in this tank and they're claiming to be Russians. All right. So they're trying to get their way, sneak their way through this country there. And then they come to like a town, Michael.
Yes, a village, yeah.
And explain what happens here.
So they come there and there's all these dead bodies of these soldiers. Are those kids or soldiers?
Those are just like civilians, yeah.
Yeah, civilians. And so one of the guys comes to the general or whatever, the colonel, and says, Comrade Marshal, request permission to drop out of column to evacuate civilian children. And this guy's like, out of the question, we don't have time. And then another higher ranking guy is like, no, we're gonna evacuate the children. And basically he outranks them. And then he's like, evacuate the children, Comrade Sergeant. Consider yourself under my direct orders. Thank you, Comrade Marshal. And get a haircut. Wah, wah, wah.
Because that's the Nth Man who's stood up and volunteered to evacuate the children. And we know it's the Nth Man because the first time we see him from behind, he's got the white hair coming out the back of his helmet. There. Yeah, and then they say, hey, get a haircut. So I was like, oh, that's our buddy, the Nth Man. And then, so all the other Russians leave, but the Nth Man, his elderly dentist pal, and the girl, they're now on their own inside this city.
Yeah, so basically the like in the last issue they came across a guy who had a bunch of kids like kind of like locked in like a basement, and when they freed the kids, they beat this Chinese soldier to death. And so now this girl is like, oh, this is why those kids killed that Chinese soldier, because all these dead civilians are here. So she's assuming that he killed them all. Yeah. And so basically they're kind of just figuring out what to do. And then Nth Man's like, no time to mope. We're out of here. And the girl's like, what? What about the kids? You know, if you hadn't volunteered, then they might have detailed someone else to round them up. You can't leave them. And so Nth Man's arguing back. Is like, just a minute. Oh, we should also point out that the old man calls him Peachy. That's his nickname.
Yeah, he calls Nth Man Peachy.
Right.
I don't know why. Do you know why, Mike?
He explained it, but I can't remember what it was. I can't remember now.
He likes his ass, that's why.
Yeah. So then we cut back over to the helicopter with the hot girl in it that's trying to find Nth Man. And this dude is basically hitting on her as they're flying, right?
Yeah, this old guy, he's like grabbing her shoulder and she's like, stop pawing at me, Captain right. Soloviev.
Yeah, it's undignified. And so she looks down and she sees like tank tracks kind of going one way. And then she's like, look, the tracks turn and join the retreating column. They're hiding among Gerasimov's tanks. Turn back. Not a moment too soon. And so then we cut back over to the guys we were just with a few minutes ago who left. And what the hell? Oh, yeah. And so then they see the girls' helicopter flying by, and they're like, shoot it down. And then one of the guys is like, hold your horses. Haven't you learned anything about psyops yet? Guess that's why I'm still over here advising you. Tell your boys to let the Hind go.
Yeah, the Hind is the name of the helicopter, like the main type of helicopter. But yeah, the Russian lady, she was about to cross into like Chinese line or territory there. And right. But they turned around just in time to go back where she thinks the Nth Man is hiding. And they kept going, the Chinese might have shot them down.
Right, and yeah, so this, yeah, they're all, and every time they talk, it'll say like, they're all talking English, but it's actually Mandarin or Russian. You know, it'll just say translated from Mandarin.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then they keep going, and then we cut back over to the girl arguing with Nth Man, and she's like, "How can you?"
Wow, this would be a way different story as Ant-Man.
Yeah, it would be. You're right.
It would be pretty good.
So then she's like, "How can you be so mean and low down?" And he's like, "I stay up late working on it." So he's basically saying they don't have time, blah blah blah. And
hey, let me just stop you here, Micah, because this Nth Man sounds like a real dick, right?
Yeah, he does. Yep.
Yep. Hey, he's trained to be a ninja, not a passionate individual.
Yeah, not a babysitter. So just to recap, he volunteers to go and save some children, and then when he's free from the Russians, he's like, I'm not going to go save those children. Fuck that. I'm just getting out of here. Yeah.
Right. So then,
I thought those kids are brats. Just one of them, that fucking Sasha.
Yeah, that's Sasha. Keep an eye on that Sasha.
Yeah. So this one kid is sitting up on a roof.
Sasha.
Yeah, Sasha, and he's got all these guns like on his back, and he's holding a gun, and he's like American pigs. and then we cut over to meanwhile in Antarctica, and we see Alfie. This is the guy who eliminated all the nuclear weapons on Earth with his like psychic abilities.
Yes,
we mentioned earlier, and he's sitting there watching TV. And then he's using his psychic powers to, I think this is an illusion. He's just creating the illusion around him that he's in the Antarctica. Or no. He's creating the illusion that he's in a living room, I think, because he's actually in Antarctica.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway, so he's like watching TV in his living room. Then the living room's not there. Then he's not there, but the chair is there. And it's like in each successive panel. So then we cut back over to Nth Man and his buddies, and they go into this village where these kids are. And they're like, okay, let's get out of here. They're like, not without Sasha. And they're like, well, where's this Sasha guy? So then Nth Man, oh, Jesus Christ. Nth Man goes into the house to look for this guy. And he's like looking around, and he looks like at a house, like a roof across the way. And he sees this kid. Like, what he's doing. So then this kid is actually shooting a flare up into the air. and he's signaling to the helicopter. And so then
the foxy Russian lady.
Yeah. So then we cut back down to Nth Man's friends, and the girl's like, "Get us out of here, Doc! They're coming in on a missile run." And the old guy's like, "It won't start." And so then Nth Man sees the helicopter coming. Hold on a sec here, and then he starts shooting at the helicopter, and the helicopter, like flies away. Then it comes back, and then the old man's trying to start the car again or whatever it is, and then the helicopter's coming back, and then it shoots a missile into the bedroom or whatever, the upstairs of the house that Nth Man's in, and then we see Nth Man running through the house, trying to jump out. We actually follow the missile like panel by panel until it's just about to hit a picture of these kids, and then it blows up the house. And then Nth Man's still running, and then his friends think that Nth Man is dead, and then we see the kid, Sasha, on top of the house, and he's kind of like raising his hand, and then way in the background we see Nth Man running towards another house. And the women, like the crew in the helicopter, like, the little hero is spotting for us. Arm another sagger. And then the girl on the ground, Nth Man's friend, is like, "What? I'll nail that little snitch." And then the kids are like, "Sasha!" And the girl's like, "That's your Sasha?" So Sasha's helping out the Russians in the helicopter.
I like that she just realized now when they said that Sasha was on the roof with a rifle and a rocket launcher and a flare gun. So who could this kid on the roof be who was firing a flare gun? Probably Sasha.
Well, she thought it was a Sasha, not the Sasha. Yeah.
That's your Sasha? So then Nth Man, he's now running. He goes to a different house, but then all of a sudden, he finds himself face to face with Alfie. And he's like, "What? This happened 20 years ago in Iowa." He can't understand how it's happening again. And we see Alfie like standing there, and we see like young Nth Man and young Alfie with like a... Huh?
Let's describe what Alfie looks like for the people. Let's paint a picture. He kind of reminds me of a cracked up Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, you could say that, I guess. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, he's got crazy black hair, kind of like a mullet as well. And he wears like a orange dress shirt, blue pants, and he's got like pens in his pocket of his dress shirt.
Yeah.
That's an interesting detail.
Yeah, I mean, his face, usually comic book artists tend to draw people all the same, but Alfie's very distinct.
Yeah? Got like distinct cheeks.
Right.
Yeah, give McFarlane some crystal meth, and there he is. Alfie. All right. So Nth Man is seeing this vision of Alfie standing there, and there's a nurse, and I guess the guy who runs the orphanage, and then both John Doe and Alfie as little kids, Michael. And the old man says, "Look in this box. What's in that box, Michael?"
Actually, can't remember. What is in the box?
It's a dead kitten.
Dead kitten. Yeah. Even Mike Dell wasn't going to handle this one well.
I was irate when I saw that. And apparently Alfie killed the little kitten. You know?
He's a bad guy.
But John Doe takes the blame for it.
What a guy.
Yeah. So then, like, he's seeing the vision, and they're standing there, and then, I love Larry Hama, but there's one line here that really bugs me. Where is it? Where he's like, "They can't see us." It's like he doesn't realize it's just like a memory. Where is that line? Yeah, here it is. At the bottom of page 19, he's like, "They can't see us." It's as if he doesn't know that they're just like in a vision, like an illusion.
Yeah.
That kind of bugged me. But then Alfie's like,
unnecessary.
There's just shadows of the past, of our past, John. So they're watching it play out, and like Nth Man is like lashing back at the old man, and then he's like, "Take Alfie upstairs, new scooch." And then Alfie's like, "Did it make you feel good, John? Did you glow inside like a saint?" And then we see the old man about to start beating Nth Man, like when he's a little kid.
Yeah, with his
just
belt.
tightening his.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel pain.
Yeah, Jank with a Troll 2 reference there, Michael. Did you ever see Troll 2?
Years ago. What's the reference?
Well, the dad's looks like he's going to take the belt off, though, because the kid, he doesn't want his family to eat this food, right, Jank? Because he thinks the food might turn them into trolls or something. So he stands up on the dinner table and urinates over all the tables.
Oh, geez.
So he's in big trouble. Dad, you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it. And he looks pissed, so he goes for his belt. You're like, uh-oh. But then he's just tightening his belt one loop so he doesn't feel hunger pains.
Troll 2. All right. So now the vision's over, and we're back to the helicopter blowing up more buildings.
Right. So yeah, we cut back over, and we see that Nth Man is still alive. And he like looks over, and he's like that, and he sees Sasha still on the roof. And he's like, that kid doesn't give up. And then the Russian Black Widow is like, our young pioneer has spotted him again. Use the Gatling gun. So then they see Nth Man running on the ground, and they're trying to shoot him. But he's like, now he's climbing up the side of one of the buildings, and the helicopter's coming towards him. And then Alfie is kind of like appearing next to him, like kind of taunting him, you know? And then he jumps up, he runs up onto the roof, and he's trying to fight Alfie.
Well, he's not trying to fight Alfie. He's trying to get the kid's got a rocket launcher.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought that was still a vision of Alfie, but yeah, that's the kid. And and then he grabs the gun away from the kid, and then he aims it at the helicopter, and the helicopter is coming towards him. And then he shoots the helicopter, hits the helicopter, and then the woman's like, authority, get us down. Is that? I don't even know what that means, but anyway. So then
auto rotate.
Oh, auto rotate. There we go.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. A torotate.
I like a torotate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then Nth Man and the kid jump off the building and land on the vehicle that's got all the kids in it. And then what's his name?
But Sasha's still pissed.
Right.
He says we should kill all these Americans. They're American murderers. We should kill them all.
And then the kids are like, they saved us, Sasha. And then the girl's like, you did good, John. John? And he looks back and he sees Alfie waving at him.
Yeah.
And then we cut back over to so now they're like traveling along, and they run into this is now the Russians. Oh no, is this the Russians or the Chinese?
These are the Chinese, and these are the Americans and the Chinese we saw earlier when the helicopter turned around. There's two American soldiers there that work from the PSYOP groups that are working with the Chinese.
Right.
And the one John Doe knows the one guy.
Right. And he's
one of his names. That's convenient.
Wait, what's his name?
Sergeant.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's kind of ridiculous, yeah.
Sergeant.
And then he's like grabs the one guy. And he's like, "You stood by and let them shoot unarmed civilians." And then the other guy comes in. He's like, "I gave that order under duress. Your Colonel Darling insisted it was the only way to draw Gerasimov into my trap. He threatened to withhold supply drops. Is that true, Sergeant? Well, I'm not saying it is, and I'm not saying it isn't." And then all of a sudden, another guy runs in, and he's like, "Russian paratroops." So he's like, "Yeah, Russian paratroops are coming." So then we cut back over to the Russian lady who has survived the helicopter crash. And she's basically like, I want to find this Nth Man, I want to kill him myself, right?
Yeah.
So then we cut back over to Nth Man with the Chinese and the Americans. And then basically they're like, well, you and your friends are on your own. See ya. And so then Nth Man looks back at the kids, and then he pulls a gun, and he shoots
this is crazy to me.
Yeah, he shoots. Is this the American?
Yeah, it's the American PSYOP guy.
Yeah,
because he's responsible for killing all those civilians back at the town, and he left all these kids without orphans. So Nth Man is pissed. So he just grabs a gun, turns around, and shoots him in the belly.
Right. And then he's like, but it's really far away. And then he's like, Sergeant, shoot that traitor. That's an order. And then the black guy's like, with all due respect, sir, that would violate the president's safe conduct order. And he does outrank you, sir.
Yeah, because the highest Nth Man must be protected at all costs, apparently. The U.S. government. They say, we always got to take care of Nth Man. So he can do whatever the fuck he wants. If he wants to shoot you in the belly, he's going to shoot you in the goddamn belly. That's what he's going to do.
And then I like this ending. Then the little kids, or Sasha's like, that was an American officer you shot. Isn't he on your side? And Nth Man's like, nobody's on your side because of the color of the suit he happens to be wearing, Sasha. And if belonging to a side means doing wrong stuff simply because everyone else is, count me out.
Yeah, and he's smiling.
Yeah.
And the girl's smiling at him, Jank. So it's like a real happy ending. But I just saw him shoot a guy in the belly.
Okay.
Yeah.
The tough guy.
And even though
How do
this
you
isn't
feel
a
about
G.I. Joe
this?
comic, with the knowing is half the battle type lesson.
Yeah, that's what I feel like exactly. Like after he says that ending, I feel like they should have had, and knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe.
But I'm just struck by the fact that, he doesn't want to belong to a side that if that means doing wrong, just to belong to a side. But you just shot an unarmed man in the belly.
Yeah, but didn't that guy kill a bunch of civilians?
But, in theory, like he just shot him in the belly
Yeah.
with like no trial. You know what I mean? No, like, come on, what are we doing here?
Hell, this is war.
Just don't believe in trials.
So yeah, that's Nth Man. That's how it ends. And Jank, what'd you think?
Well, now that Mike L has explained the first two issues, I understand it a little bit better. But I still didn't think it was great. Not a lot of cool ninjaing, as we discussed. These plots are very strange together. This hard-boiled kind of army story, and then you've got this mystical, omnipotent god guy just popping in and doing crazy shit. So those don't seem to blend too good for me.
No, they do not. I was struck by that as well. I will say this though, I liked Ron Wagner's art. I thought he did some really good stuff here. Like especially on like pages, I think like 18, 19, when Nth Man was jumping out of that house and that missile was going in the window and everything. I thought that stuff was really well done. I really like the art actually, like throughout the whole thing. So,
Me too. Yeah.
The lady was pretty good looking.
Yeah, she was Foxy, the Black Widow lady. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just a miss though, Mike. All right, like it just feels like a mishmash of things that shouldn't be together. And like when it first started, I was kind of into it just from the military aspect of things. Like, oh yeah, this is a war comic. This is what it is, and Larry Hama does that well. And then the Alfie shows up and it's like, what the fuck is this? I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
I don't know. Here's the thing: is I love me some Larry Hama. I think this is actually a good issue. It's just that he's actually really good at like these stories where it's just one long action scene. However, it's also very fast paced, and you got to keep up, right?
Yeah.
And as we said, there's stuff that happened. I mean, in the first two issues that you kind of have to know. Then there's also stuff that happened in Marvel Comics Presents that it would probably help to know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Go ahead, Jake.
Like, they used to have in comic books at the top, it would be like Robert Bruce Banner was caught in the heart of a gamma bomb. It would kind of explain the premise of the comic.
Right.
Like, Nth Man needs that badly. I didn't know who was fighting in World War III, what's going on here. Like, they could have used that, quite a bit to help.
Yeah, the only reason I knew why stuff was happening is because I had read the description before I read the book. So, like, I had read the Wikipedia stuff, so I knew, like, I had some context for the stuff that was happening. But otherwise, yeah, you'd be completely lost if you just went in blind.
I read some of it, but I don't even think they mentioned who was on whose side in what I read. It was just kind of like, yeah, World War III happened, and now we're in the post-apocalypse. Like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is Escape from New York.
Never saw it. We saw Escape from L.A., right, Jake?
Oh, why would you do that?
Because Kurt Russell's surfing in that one scene, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
I've seen them both.
It's something.
New York is definitely more fun than this was. Like, it's got cool things like, people driving with chandeliers in their car and shit like that. This wasn't nearly as fun.
No,
this was just kind of straightforward.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I can see like some parallels, but I don't know. I mean, I definitely like this, but I know what you mean. Like, it seems like concepts just jammed together that might not necessarily fit together.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm surprised it lasted 16 issues.
Well, I'll be reading them all, so I'll let you know how they are. Okay.
I mean, because usually, like, if something's bad, they cut it after 6, right? Isn't that where they usually like?
Yeah,
right.
usually 4 to 6. But I mean, hey, if it's selling well, keep it going.
I guess. Yeah, not a huge fan of Nth Man, but at least we know what it is now. That's something.
Yeah.
Knowing's half the battle.
Exactly.
Del, you said that you know how this all ended. Like,
oh yeah. All right. So at one point, this Alfie fella, the Russians use biological weapons, but Alfie uses his mental powers to change the biological weapons. but he kind of fucks up, and it kind of turns people not into like technical zombies, but kind of like zombies, I guess. So I guess there's like a zombie apocalypse kind of thing happening.
Huh.
And then at the very end, like if the name Alpha Omegan, if you really look at it, it's Alpha and Omega, beginning and end.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Clever.
the events at the end of the book with the virus that got released, or the biological weapon that got released and everything, it explains how that event then created Alfie and John Doe. So it's like a big like cycle paradox kind of situation there, like the beginning and the ending spin into the same. I don't know. That's apparently how it ended. But
did they explain who the lady on fire was then?
no, maybe, I don't know. But hey, Jack, you can go ahead and read issue 16 and maybe find out for yourself. Are you going to do it?
That's in the chat. Probably not.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it either.
I'll be reading.
I would be
all
curious.
So
yeah. And also this Nth Man, I mentioned it when we were doing the review. He's kind of a jerk, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, maybe it gives them somewhere to go. You know, you got to start out as Tony, gradually become Iron Man.
Yeah, we kind of see him evolve here in this issue. Like he's real cold at the beginning, and he warms up a little bit because of the getting revenge, I guess, by shooting that guy in the belly to get vengeance for the children. But you know, so there is some.
Here it'll be always doing, you know, the right thing.
But so I don't know. But I did like the art. So I don't know. 1 out of 10. Probably. I like Runaway. I'll give it a 5 because I like looking at it, like middle of the road. But that's about it. Jank, what do you think?
Yeah, I think a 5 is probably just about right. The art was definitely a lot better than most things you see these days. Like back in the 80s, I probably wouldn't have glanced twice at this, but nowadays this would be amazing.
Yeah, I definitely didn't appreciate him when I was younger, but yeah, as I get older, I realize how good he is, and I can see the Joe Kubert school like influence there of the storytelling and everything, the line work.
Yeah.
So I give it a 6 out of 10 because I enjoyed it. I'm gonna read more, and I have the original issue.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
All right, well there you go. All right, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's all we got for Nth Man.
Huh.
Thank you for joining us, Kevin Jank.
Yeah.
Sure, anytime.
For 16.
Even if we got to read it.
Yeah. Pretty great. Well, next time we'll let you pick. In theory, you know. But,
sounds good.
We'll see.
Hopper.
All right. So for next week, in theory, I think V. Miles Watson's going to be on because he has to catch up, keep pace with Jank. And but he didn't have time to pick an issue, so I'm just gonna.
Time.
Yeah, he's very busy. He's very busy.
Sure.
So I'm going to pick something I think he will like, and because he had mentioned something about he had some issue of Hulk in the Thing fighting in Burbank, but I looked at that issue; it looks pretty terrible. So instead, I'm going to do Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 7 from 1982. That's right. Marvel 2-in-1 Annual 7, 1982. This is the story where the champion of the universe, that big champion guy, he comes down to Earth and he gets all the toughest guys on Earth and he boxes them.
Oh, that's awesome.
The funny thing is, I think I've already reviewed this issue.
What?
For Spider-Cast. Is Spider-Man in this one?
No.
This is fishy. Did we not do this on the show?
No.
Oh, wait. Is Quasar in it?
No.
This is funny.
Quasar
Okay.
can't be the strong.
Yeah, there's no Quasar connection, no Spider-Man connection. J. Jonah Jameson's in it, I think.
Interesting.
But you want to read a book for J. Jonah Jameson, would you?
No. If Peter Parker was in it, though, we would have read it.
I don't think he's in it.
Interesting. Okay.
And J. Jonah Jameson's just in it, like, casually by, like, writing an editorial in a newspaper. I think you see the editorial or something. But,
Really?
yeah, but it's got, like, The Thing, Hulk, Colossus, who's the big guy in Alpha Flight?
Sasquatch?
Yeah, Sasquatch, that's right. And the champion boxes them all. So.
Very cool.
Yeah. And Miles is a boxer, so I figured he'd enjoy it. So there you go.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, let's hope. So I got to tell you, I'm running out of books.
Well, I'll tell you, we did review this for Spider-Cast, so Spider-Man must be in it. We reviewed it on Here Comes the Spider-Cast number 42, but whatever.
Spider-Man's
again.
I flipped through it, and I did not see Spider-Man at all. It's not like he doesn't box Spider-Man or anything.
It could just be like even if Peter Parker appears in one panel, then it's considered part of the master database, so that means we reviewed it.
That is ridiculous.
But anyway, there you go. Good stuff.
There it is. And I think it's Tom DeFalco wrote it, and Ron Wilson is the artist, I believe. So.
Good stuff. Okay, well, once again, we want to thank Kevin Jank for joining us for his 16th monumental appearance.
Thank you, Jank.
Yeah, for sure. And you can hear every episode of Flea Market Fantasy at comicbooksyndicate.com. We review a Bronze Age comic book every week. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks, sometimes Kevin Jank picks. So be sure to join us every week. And until next Tuesday, start!